Okay, back on track. To mix up the sketches and for YouTube, we have the Southern Made donuts that we got in Elizabeth City. The taste that you remember since 1937. It's hot. Caution, contents are hot. Why did they put that? I don't know. Okay, so Exodus 12:37. Then the children of Israel journeyed from Ramses. I thought Ramses was a person. To Succoth, about 600,000 men on foot, besides children, a mixed multitude, and they baked unleavened cakes of the dough which they had brought out of Egypt. For it was hot, it was not leavened, because they were driven out of Egypt and could not wait, nor had they prepared provisions for themselves. 600,000 people, not including children, went from Ramses to Succoth. I should have a little children here. Say not included. And they made unleavened cakes because they were in such a hurry. The trip of the children of Egypt was 430 years, and Moses took the bones of Joseph with him, for he had placed the children of Israel under solemn oath, promise, saying, God will surely visit you, and you shall carry up my bones from here with you. So here's Joseph carrying here's Moses carrying the bones of Joseph with him. Joseph had said, God will surely visit you, and you shall carry my bones from here with you. The Lord went ahead of them in a pillar of cloud to guide them on their way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light. Exodus 13:21. From Succoth, and they camped in Edom. So there they go, from Succoth to Edom. Let's go, said Moses. 600,000, wow. Plus kids. And in the daytime, they had a cloud by the daytime and a pillar of fire by night. He did not take away, put those papers together. He did not take away the pillar of cloud by day or the pillar of fire by night from before the people. So he kept the pillar of day of cloud by daytime and the pillar of fire by night. He didn't take away. Exodus 14. Now the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Pharaoh will say of the children of Israel, they are bewildered by the land, the wilderness has closed them in. So God told Moses that Pharaoh will say the wilderness has bewildered or confused them. It has closed them in. So the Israelites are going to need help, Pharaoh thinks. They're having a hard time in the wilderness, in the wild. Then I will harden Pharaoh's heart so that he will pursue them, and I will gain honor over Pharaoh and over all his army, that the Egyptians may know that I am the Lord. So Pharaoh's heart will be hardened. Pharaoh will pursue them. I'll get you, Israelites. God's honor will be over Pharaoh and all his army, so that the Egyptians may know that he is God. So just like us around the world, we need to know that he is God. The Egyptians will know that I am the Lord. Hopefully come to him. Now it was told the king of Egypt that the people had fled, and the heart of Pharaoh and his servants was turned against the people. And they said, "Why have we done this, that we have let Israel go from serving us?" So Pharaoh and his servants said, are upset and said, "Why have we done this?" When they heard that the Israelites had fled. So I don't know who this person is. The Israelites had fled. Pharaoh and his servants said, "Why did they do that?" And they turned against the people. I think Israelite people. So he made ready his chariot and took his people with him. Also he took 600 choice chariots and overtook them, camping by the sea, all the horses of Pharaoh. So the servants and Pharaoh said, "Come on, let's get him." And they had 600 chariots. And they went to go get the Israelites who are camping by the water, by the sea. Exodus 14:10. And when Pharaoh drew near, the children of Israel lifted their eyes, and behold, the Egyptians marched after them. So they were very afraid, and the children of Israel cried out to the Lord. So here come the Egyptians, Pharaoh and his servants, 600 of chariots, and the Israelites look up and say, "Help me, Lord." We've got to say, "Help us, Lord." Exodus 14:13. And Moses said to the people, "Do not be afraid. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will accomplish for you today. For the Egyptians whom you see today, you shall see again no more forever. The Lord will fight for you, and you shall hold your peace." And there's the Israelites holding their peace. So you shall not fear anymore. Do not be afraid anymore. Do not fear. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will accomplish for you. For the Egyptians that you see today, you shall see no more forever. So you won't see those Egyptians anymore. God will fight for you. And there's God fighting for us, fighting for the children of Israel. Exodus 14:15. And the Lord said to Moses, "Tell the children of Israel to go forward, but lift up your rod and stretch out your hand over the sea and divide it. And the children of Israel shall go on the dry ground through the midst of the sea." So Moses is the Lord said to Moses, "Lift up your rod and stretch out your hand." I should have a little hand there. "And the children of Israel shall go on the dry land, on the dry ground in the midst of the sea." Wow, walking on dry ground in the midst of the sea. May we do that as well. Exodus 14:17. So I will gain honor over Pharaoh and over all his army, his chariots and his horsemen. Then the Egyptians shall know that I am the Lord, when I have gained honor for myself over Pharaoh, his chariots and his horsemen. So there's God saying, I will gain honor over Pharaoh and over all his Egyptians and his chariots and his horsemen. So there's his chariots and his horsemen. God's honor will be over all of them. And the Egyptians shall know that I am God. We all need to know that God is God, and he's in control. And the angel of God who went before the camp of Israel moved and went behind them, and the pillar of cloud went from before them and stood behind them. So it came between the camp of the Egyptians and the camp of Israel. So the angel of the Lord who went before the camp of Israel moved. So here he is in the front. The angel of the Lord who went before the camp of Israel moved and went behind them. So there he is behind them. And the pillar of cloud went from, here's a pillar of cloud. The pillar of cloud went from before them and stood behind them. So it came between the camp of the Egyptians and the camp of Israel. So the angel of God and the pillar of cloud went between the Egyptians and the camp of Israel. Thus it was a cloud and darkness to the one, and it gave light by night to the other, so that the one did not come near the other all that night. So that all night there was darkness, and the camp of the Egyptians did not come near the camp of Israel. Exodus 14:24. Now it came to pass in the morning watch that the Lord looked down upon the army of the Egyptians through the pillar of fire and cloud, and he troubled the army of Egyptians, and he took off their chariot wheels, so that they drove them with difficulty. And the Egyptians said, "Let us flee from the face of Israel, for the Lord fights for them against the Egyptians." So the Lord fights for us. So here's God looking at in the morning watch. I wonder if this is mixed up. I gotta check it. And he sees the Egyptians through the pillar of fire and cloud. So he took off their chariot wheels, so that they drove with difficulty. And the soldiers said, "Let us flee from the face of Israel, because the Lord fights for them against the Egyptians." And here's the Lord fighting for them against the Egyptians. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Stretch out your hand over the sea, so that the waters may come back upon the Egyptians on their chariots." So Moses stretched out his hand. Here's his hand. So that the waters may come back on the Egyptians and on their chariots. Then the waters returned and covered the chariots, the horsemen, and all the army of Pharaoh that came into the sea after them. Not so much as one of them remained. So none of them remained. Exodus 14:29. But the children of Israel had walked on dry land in the midst of the sea, and the waters were a wall to them on the right hand and on their left. So here's the Israelites walking through, and there was water on the right and the left. They had a clear passageway. God, give us a escape, a clear way to get through. So the Lord saved Israel that day out of the hand of the Egyptians, and Israel saw the Egyptians dead on the seashore. Thus Israel saw the great work which the Lord had done in Egypt. So the people feared the Lord and believed the Lord and his servant Moses. So the Lord saved Israel out of the hand of the Egyptians. There's the hand of the Egyptians, and God's helping them. Israel saw the Egyptians dead on the seashore. Israel saw the great work which the Lord had done in Egypt. So here's Egypt, and God had done a great work in Egypt. Lord, the people feared the Lord and believed the Lord and his servant Moses. Lord, we believe you and we believe Moses. And they feared the Lord or respected him. Exodus 15:1. Then Moses and the children of Israel sang this song to the Lord. The Lord is my strength and my song. He has become my salvation. Then Miriam, the prophetess, the sister of Aaron, took the timbrel in her hand, and all the women went out after her with a timbrel, should be one L, and with dances. Sing to the Lord, for he has triumphed gloriously. So there's Miriam and all the women. A lot more. And that's it for today.